everyone. Welcome to another episode of my podcast. Today is a special day because we are doing it on live Facebook because of these guys. I have Stigmata from Sri Lanka. Hi, guys.
Hey man.
Hey man. Great to be here, dude.
Yeah, it's been a long time, right? I don't know, maybe a decade now we are seeing.
More than that.
Yeah.
They're actually meeting after, like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. So how you guys doing
Yeah,
with this COVID thing and lockdown and everything? How you guys coping? How you guys what you guys been up to?
Yeah. COVID
Tenny,
has happened, bro.
for
Anyway,
it.
yeah. Go for it. Yeah. So lockdown happened, bro. But thing is, like, people who are writing the music and all, they continue writing music. There were loads of music which was released in the local scene, especially originals and all. And like, even for us, we just played a gig just before lockdown time, and we were focusing on like releasing our single and stuff like that, Elisa, and working on a video for it also. So we were collecting stuff like videos, pictures, stuff like that from friends and like fans who want to send like stuff to us to include in the video. So that was a special video and a song which we were working on. Apart from that, we finished our second track and we sent it to mix and master. So those were the things which are happening during lockdown for us, and we were like working on few collab stuff and things like that also, and focusing on the rest of the tracks which are gonna come into the fifth album. So those are the stuff as a band which was happening to us. Apart from that, life happened and work and so we everybody's working from home for lockdown, and that happened. So in a way, that was also kind of good. Everyone is safe. No one in a band but like went bananas with it.
Yeah, even
Everyone
for
is
us, even for me, because I think just having music and having a music collection and stuff and having friends who are musicians and stuff, so it's actually keeping me sane, because otherwise I will be fucking depressed because with the situation you're stuck at home. Suresh, what you been up to? I saw your webinar yesterday with BNS and Randir and
Yeah, man, that was pretty. That was very interesting because there were so many personalities from different genres of music, right? And all that have ascertained some form of brand leadership through the years. All innovators or originators or creators in some form or manner. And it was interesting getting everyone's input, Masa. During lockdown COVID, I have not had a moment of respite or a breather. Because I'm a consultant professionally, so I've been having quite a lot of work during this time. Because leaving the band stuff aside, I'm actually a solopreneur and I'm a creative director and a brand strategist. So I've been getting quite a lot of work. I love working with a lot of new brands and startups and SMEs. So I was blessed to get a couple of overseas clients and also to work with a couple of really interesting clients over here. That aside, Masang, I have my own podcast. During lockdown, I found out that my podcast was selected as one of the top 5 podcasts in Sri Lanka. That genuinely came as a surprise because I didn't think anyone was listening to me, Masang. And there are a lot of podcasts here. There are over 100 podcasts here with people doing everything from sports, Masang, to meditation and yoga and kibulabanis. So there's a lot of topics going around. I, during lockdown, also launched my own voice artistry channel, Masang, because I do professional voice artistry. And I do a little bit of acting on the side. I'm not a film actor. I'm a thespian. So I like doing creative voice artistry stuff. And because I think there's a massive market for it. And I don't think anyone has exploited that market over here, where any Sri Lankans really do voiceovers, Masam, for stuff like video games and proper narration stuff, audiobooks and stuff like that. There's a big market for it overseas. Yeah. And I launched my voice artistry channel just for kicks. And that ended up doing really well. I finished my MBA during this time. The last couple of subjects, the modules were in lockdown, Masang, so that was a bit intense, doing the exams and the assignments during lockdown and sorting that out. So finished that off the bat. But like Tenny said, I think the Stigmata and band stuff was the most exciting, Macham, because naturally live concerts are hit in a big way, as you know.
Yeah.
And it's not just us. I think it's impacted musicians across the board from every genre and style of music. So one thing about Stigmata that we're blessed about, Channa, especially this lineup, I have to say, is that we are all very self-sufficient. We're very independent. We've always been as a band, and a lot of our creative stuff with the band, Masang, not just the creation and the performance of the music, but for example, if you take the artwork, bro, Tenny is an art director. He does all the designs and stuff. When you talk about a lot of the videography and stuff like that, Thisara, whose router has crashed. Oh, you're back, Thisara. Oh, nah,
Yeah.
He's back with his sexy hair.
Welcome back. So Thisara is a professional videographer, Machang, and he recently launched his own venture called Evil Cat Lab, where he does professional videography and 3D animation and stuff like that. Then we have Hafzel, our drummer, Machang, who is the sexiest guy in the band, and
He's busy with the ladies.
other than him being a full-time model, Machang, he also happens to be a gaming enthusiast, and he also happens to be a guy who loves to drive fast cars and he loves to race and stuff like that. But that aside, he's very competent, Masang, with IT infrastructures and a lot of social media stuff as well. And he's a photographer, very good photographer. So and I'm a creative director. So we really early on, Masang, while a lot of people were kind of stuck and wondering what to do, we prudently managed to figure out, okay, we need to align our business strategy in a pandemic world. And how do we do that? How do we create engagement? How do we create more value and a competitive advantage, Machang, in this scene? How can we give more value to our fans and our customers? And what can we do in this time? So actually, it's these three guys, they came up with the idea, Machang, to release a song. And it was these guys' idea, Machang, for us to take every 3-4 months and release a song accompanied, Machang, with a music video.
Right.
Because dropping a physical album, Machang, in this time didn't make sense, bro. We're working on our 5th album, and also because it's our 20th anniversary, we felt, okay, started recording some stuff. I think we had a massive break, Machang, and we are blessed to have been playing one of our shows last year, Machang, called No Covers Allowed. And there was this one of the top 5 producers in the UK, bro, called Romesh Thodangoda, singer, Sri Lankan guy in the UK. He's one of the top 5 producers overall.
Suresh, come back.
Yeah, I think Suresh got kind of disconnected. So Thisara, so you, yeah.
Sorry, Machang.
Yeah.
He's back.
Number 1.
Yeah. So Suresh, so when I met you guys before, maybe 2000.
You guys are getting, I don't know whether you're seeing me getting stuck, but all of you guys are frozen right now in my screen.
We are.
Yeah.
I think
You are getting stuck, bro.
I can see each of you. You're like, Channa is like, Hafzel like, Thisara is just doing.
I think
Yeah.
I can see in the.
Sorry, Machan. So please continue. Please continue. I went mid-conversation. I don't know what happened after that.
Yeah, so I was just asking. So I was just saying, because I saw you guys maybe 2003 up to maybe 2005 probably, and then I'm familiar with the earlier, the lineup those days. So I want to talk about the new lineup. So Thisara, when did you join Stigmata?
I joined back in 2017. Yeah, 2017.
Oh, so did you play which bands did you play before joining Stigmata?
Okay, so before Stigmata, I played for a band in Candy called the Crematoria.
Okay.
So I was the
I
guitarist of
have
the
no
band.
idea what was just asked or what happened. You just went full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
So
Okay.
yeah. Go ahead, Thisara.
Yeah. So after that, I joined Stigmata.
Yeah, it's nice to see.
Very short.
Yeah, I saw you guys performing that covers not allowed. What's that? Covers not allowed Pulse event.
No covers
Yeah.
allowed.
No,
No covers allowed.
covers allowed. So that was a really amazing performance, right? So Hafi, when did you join Stigmata? Also around the same time?
Yeah, basically a year after Thisara joined, yeah, in 2018 January, I guess. Yes.
So Suresh, I want to talk about a little bit about the start of Stigmata. So I think I first heard about Stigmata maybe 2001 or 2002. Can you tell me a little bit about how did you guys started for the people who don't know Stigmata, your early beginnings?
Yeah, so we were first called Bleeding Cross, and we started in St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia, where there weren't a lot of people who listened to rock and metal. There were only two venues for rock and metal in this country. One was called the Den, the other was called the Rock Cafe, and both are not existent anymore. And just a handful of people used to hang out and listen to metal. My understanding is that there was a big rock movement in the 70s and 80s over here, but it died down in the 90s. And in the late 90s, the band called Rec formed, which became Independence Square, as you know. And Independence Square inspired us in a big way in terms of originality. So in school, Tenny and I met and we decided to start a band. And a short time later, we saw Andrew performing at a school event, Masang, and we asked him, and he joined the band as well. And from that point onwards, we just started rehearsing. And I'll be very honest, Masang, we just started to piss people off and to have fun. We had no inclination or vision at all, Masang, of ending up 20 years later, Masam becoming one of the foremost heavy metal bands and creative entities in the Southeast Asian region, Masam. Like we never, if you came back then when we were dressed in school clothes, Masang, and we were going for rehearsals, and you said 20 years on, you guys would have 4 albums released, you all would have toured the world, we would have said, Masang, please, bugger off. We're just doing this for fun. So we it was a learning curve. It was a do-it-yourself ethic. Back then it was just listening to cassettes and CDs and VHS tapes where we used to trade, and we used to watch concerts, Machang. We used to get live concerts, everything from Metallica and Maiden. But the two VHS tapes that really impacted us, Machang, was Skid Row's Oh Say Can You Scream and Pantera's, Machang. There were two VHS tapes. One were the videos and the other was Cowboys.
Okay, you went off again.
I went off again.
Stay in one place. Yeah. Okay. Stay in one place and talk. Didn't get the names of the VHS one.
That's not how it's supposed to be. This thing is not supposed to go when you move. Yeah. So anyway, we started when we were 14, 15 years old. Some of the songs on our first record and the country's first metal record, Hollow Dreams, were composed when we were just 15, 16 years old. And obviously they were improved upon later, Masa. But one thing we had in common was, right from the get-go, we were very excited to play our own music, even though we were really shitty musicians and we didn't know what we were doing. In fact, I did not want to be a singer. I wanted to be a guitarist. And my goal was that a certain Tennyson Napoleon would play lead. Ha ha ha! It happened now, didn't it?
No, after like 20 years.
I was gonna play rhythm, and we were gonna find a singer.
Right.
We couldn't find a singer
Yeah.
because
I
there was
wanted
no
to play
one
drums
who.
though.
Yeah, there was. It just didn't materialize that way, and I ended up getting the singing gig. And then I thought, well, since I ended up with this job, I might as well start doing it properly. So I don't know, though, that was the early beginning. And once we started to play more shows and taking things a bit more serious, like everyone did back then, you enter TNL on stage. You get to the TNL on stage finals, and that is Machang your that is the ultimate goal, Machang, of bands in this country. That is being invited to play in Madison Square Garden for Sri Lankans. That is Machang playing Wakan open air, Machang. So you lose TNL on stage finals, and you're like, "Ane ammo, mage careers are over. Why have you done this? Oh God, why have you forsaken us?" Anyway, point is, all of those things were learning curves, Machang. We went for those things. We lost those things, and we learned through time that competitions and awards are not what validate how good you are. Selling 1 million records just because you're very popular doesn't mean you're any good. Justin Bieber, anyone? Britney Spears, anyone? So we learned to believe in our art, Machang. We learned to believe in ourselves and to trust in each other. And we wanted to tell stories, powerful stories, and to become good storytellers and good songwriters. And we wanted to be the best live band, Machang, in Sri Lanka. And we worked towards that. We worked very, very hard. And those were our humble beginnings. We really didn't know what we were doing, and we were lucky later on to have the guidance and support of Shobi Pereira, who was our first producer and engineer, Machang, on Morbid Indiscretion EP, which you have. A lot of people don't. And Hollow Dreams as well, which is also the first print which you have, which a lot of people don't.
Yes.
We don't. We don't have Morbid
Even I don't have.
Hell, man. So that's how it started off. It started off, we were called Bleeding Cross, and then we started to listen to more underground music. And a friend of ours called Shamir Machang, who did the original Stigmata logo for us, and he was in the band for a short period of time. He, Machang, and had a lot of heavy metal albums, Iced Earth and Nevermore and Tool and stuff like that. And we were able to get a recorded copy with a black and white booklet, Machang, of Arch Enemy's Stigmata and Arch Enemy's Burning Bridges albums.
Right.
And that was when, Machang, it really hit us, and we thought, menna me Bleeding Cross කියන එක හරියන්නේ නැහැ මේ රටේ, let's change our name to Stigmata because that's so much better, Machang. So that's, I don't know, that's what happened. Tenny, how do you remember it, Tenny? Does your memory go that back, Tenny? Tenny?
Yeah, that's pretty close. I think it happened.
Yeah, so you guys named the band Stigmata based on this album, right? Stigmata from Arch Enemy, right?
Oh, yeah.
That and the movie, Machang.
That's one.
Oh,
And
yeah,
the movie
exactly,
also happened, yeah.
That and the Warner Brothers movie, the horror movie.
Right. Yeah. So I remember the lineup those days. So we had, you had Shehan Gray on bass, and then also Andrew. Are you guys keeping tab with these guys? Are you talking to these guys? When did you talk to these guys? Recently?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. We keep in touch with all our members as much as we can. We don't. You have to understand, Machang, we have grown and matured as human beings also, Machang, as adults, as responsible, accountable human beings. Back in the day when you play in a band and a band bugger leaves, Machang, it's like a divorce. Girlfriend Mama uta aayat kata karanne.
Not ever again.
And all that shit. But through time you learn, Machang, to look at it to be more mature, because I mean how it is people change, right? And our passions change, and our visions change, and our lifestyle changes. And I think for some of these guys, they wanted to go overseas. Some of these guys wanted to start families, and they just couldn't figure out how to balance family life while playing music and working.
Right.
Some of the guys who left because of egos. I'll be honest with you. That's a big thing in music. I'm sure you know, you associate with a lot of
Yes.
bands and musicians over there. And some just left because along the way the journey just stopped making sense. And Machang, Stigmata was never about making money, Machang, for us. Stigmata was about creating great art. And I pissed a few people on the panel yesterday where I kind of said this, and it's one of the things we like to say in Stigmata, which is we never wanted to be a McDonald's or a Coca-Cola.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with being Coca-Cola and nothing wrong with being a McDonald's, right? But we, instead of being a Coca-Cola in everyone's fridge, we wanted to be a fine wine or a rare whiskey, Machang, in their houses. So there are far more people who will drink Coca-Cola and no Coca-Cola around the world, Machang. Hell, you go to Africa, Machang, they'll be having Coca-Cola. But when you take Machang, a rare whiskey or a wine, Machang, it's not for everyone. So Tenny and I learned that much early on, and I think Hafzel and Thisara have aligned greatly with that because they've also begun to understand that Machang.
Right.
But I think for some guys along the way, they wanted to do music full time. They wanted to make money doing music. They wanted to do weddings, funerals. Sorry, no one plays funerals. I just said that out of fun. But they wanted to do weddings and New Year things and do all that stuff, Machang, and pubs and clubs in a very mainstream way. And that was not our thing, Machang. And no grudges. We respect them for that because that is what they felt they needed to do to find fulfillment in life. So we do keep in touch with them. Sometimes we hang out with them, not as much, Macham, because all of us are crazy busy and our lifestyles have changed and stuff. But no hard feelings. We do keep in touch with them. I mean, when they come down, the ones overseas like Shehan and all, Macham, api hamba vena vela. We'll meet for a drink. We'll meet for a chat. Andrew, we meet. He's based here, so we meet him once in a way when the set meets for birthdays and anniversaries or weddings and that kind of stuff, or hen parties. Sorry, did I say hen parties? Bachelor parties.
Bachelor parties. That's
Yeah,
because we've been at few hen parties.
I've seen. Yeah, I'm friends with Andrew also. So I've been seeing, like, you know, he's been pissing off vegans and, you know, with his posts and stuff, right, on the internet.
Yeah.
Guys, so when you started, so what were the, like, you talk about Arch Enemy, but what are the other bands that you really influenced by?
So many,
yeah, so many, because all the guys back in the day, there were 5 guys. Let's say Andrew, Suresh, me, Shehan, and Dilukshan. I don't know whether you guys can remember. He's
I
one of the first drummers. Yeah, so Bertie played drums before him, but after Dilukshan came only, we recorded the Hollow Dreams album and stuff.
Why Anik? You forgot about Anik.
Yeah, Anik was also there. So
he was there for a small transition between Bertie and Bobby.
Yeah. So, but in college, I guess it's like when we started, all the college guys, 5 guys, there. So all of us were listening to different bands. Like some of the guys like more heavier thrashier stuff. Some of the guys like the mainstream stuff, like alternative, like maybe Creed or like Linkin Park back in the day. Some of the guys full Pantera, Metallica, Arch Enemy. Then if you take Andrew and all, he was listening to Malmsteen, Joe Satriani, Y, stuff like that. And then I guess we were listening to like Slipknot and like stuff like that, because Suresh got the first CD in '99, original CD of Slipknot and Limp Bizkit. Significant other, I can remember that. So those 2 albums are like on repeat, like for me, like. So I guess back in the day, it was everybody had our own influences, And that was the beauty of it, because not every song also started sounding the same, because like for one song, one guy will have a bigger say in it, like mixing parts in it. Then the other song, like other guy will have more input. He'll go in this, like, so we had like songs like trashy songs, ballads, like even Bon Jovi back in the day. We're like heavy Bon Jovi fans, Aerosmith, Guns N' Roses, like heavy Guns N' Roses fans, Skid Row, then Firehouse. I mean, even if you take all the ballady bands back in the day, like we were like fans of that also, like Poison and stuff. No issues. Can listen to all of that. And then even Megadeth, Metallica, except with thrash lot also, like Testament,
Right.
like Overkill. Then mellow death bands like At the Gates, like In Flames, Arch Enemy, so Carcass, like stuff like that. And then like back in the day, those are the stuff which we were like getting to listen to, because thanks to our friend Shamir, who had like he had a
I don't know. Tenny
suitcase, bro.
stuck now.
I'm stuck. Am I stuck?
No, no, no.
No.
Can see all big.
So, so Tenny, who is
Yeah.
your biggest influences in playing guitar?
Yeah, that's a pretty hard one, bro. Because when I started out, my influence were like definitely James Hetfield. Like I just wanted to like like crazy morpho, like learn all the downstrokes and like just ride the riff, like for the tracks, and that's what I was focusing on. Like I just wanted to have the best riffs in the world, like Metallica. Like every riff you can remember. And every song you can remember, like like you can like tell her, like you can, if you tell Metallica or if you take Megadeth, like not to compare both, like you can tell more Metallica tracks because you remember more Metallica tracks.
Right.
Like it's catchy. So, yeah, it's catchy. So like not to compare both, like both are very different, but still I'm saying like easily like that is the thing. Like for me, it was about the riff, and especially Black Sabbath also. Like I used to listen a lot of Black Sabbath, and like every riff is different and you can remember it. So that was like my main goal as a guitarist when I started, just to write the riffs and focus on those stuff, because at the end of the day, I mean, you start a song with a riff and damn, that's it, that's the hook, and then go to the voice section and chorus, bridge, whatever, right? But everything starts with the riff and it just goes there. They're like my idea was that, like like learn to do that first.
Right.
Okay, if you don't know how to write a riff properly, there's no point like going bananas or like solo that stuff like that. So that's all I could do back in the day, and that's what I was. That was my interest.
Right.
So I would say James Hetfield, like definitely, and even Arch Enemy. Like when I heard Arch Enemy first, that was like a very turning point, because every song was melodic and every riff was like super heavy. And back in the day, we didn't know you could like down tune guitars.
Hmm.
So we were like trying to figure out songs on like E standard, and we didn't know you could like tune it to E flat. Like
Hey, we didn't even know what double bass was. Remember?
Yeah, we didn't even know what double bass. We were like, so we had to like hire a drum kit and take like we had like practice sessions of like each fellow's house, right? Maximum we could play like a day and a half, because the neighbors always call the cops. So when they call the cops, we go to our next bandmates.
There were no rehearsal studios, Macha.
There were no rehearsal studio. We just enjoyed the other bandmates' house, take a room, practice there, again call cops from there to go to another person's house. And we rotate. We had to like hire a drum kit.
Because we all stayed in Mount Lavinia, ironically, at that time.
Yeah, all of us were in Mount House. So that's the best thing.
Yeah.
So we had to like hire a drum kit, and it's about, I don't know, like maybe $1,000 or something per day. I can't remember the amount. And we had to carry that and go to one place to another. And in that drum kit, we are like waiting for the drummer back in the day to play. And we are like waiting. Oh, bamba gand band bangi. He's like, "Ado, yanne bag itna yeng." So he's like in one foot, and he's like, "Yanne bag itna ye kaur dide na." We didn't know there was like double bass stuff and all. Like we didn't know you had to actually get a like double foot and like go tick tick tick. So it was that like. We are not from the internet era, right? I mean, we are like from magazine era, cassette era.
Yeah, Machan. We are like going
we had
to.
no way of finding these things out.
There's nothing. One CD shop, Torana. One CD shop, Torana in Liberty Plaza. Where if we are lucky, we will be able to pick up a Collective Soul or a Van Halen or a Aerosmith. Hari.
Oh.
Kala Turaking, like they won't know, but they will have a Megadeth.
Oh.
Like they will have
Scorpion.
no idea
Yeah.
how it got there. But
Metallica or Megadeth for sure.
Yeah.
and we would be the first people to get it. Like Torana one day had a Kill 'Em All Metallica. I remember I bought that for Tenny's birthday. I think
Oh
I
yeah,
bought
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I bought it for Tenny's 18th
That was
birthday.
Yeah, that was original, man. That
Yeah.
was a turning point. That was like crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I actually,
because
I actually have the stuff that I bought in Sri Lanka those days. I still have like Kill 'Em All. I got it in Sri Lanka actually.
Nice.
Nice one.
Yeah.
It was a very different time, Channa, back then when we started, because you have to understand that people felt that rock and metal was taboo.
Yes.
Okay. And that it had these satanic connotations, that it was violent and evil. And you have to understand, we came from an era and a time, Machang, where you couldn't, your parents didn't want you to say you were playing in a band.
Right.
So you didn't say the words rock and roll or hard rock in your houses back then, in the 90s. And you certainly didn't say heavy metal. So it was a very different time, Azan. Like we would be the only bunch of guys wearing black t-shirts and torn jeans, and we'd be stopped at checkpoints. We'll not be served at even basic kottu places. It was a tough time, Azan. But it's beautiful to see how, I think, us, Paranoid Earthling, I think maybe early Independence Square, a couple of bands, Machan, really stuck to their guns and helped change the lifestyle over here, bro. I think that is very important, not just the musical impact, but creating a culture for rock and metal to be accepted as not just a serious and lucrative art form, but also for it to be taken serious as like these people are part and parcel of our world, our society. There are people who look like this, and that's why, Machang, it was such a big deal for me yesterday to be asked to be on that bloody panel, bro, because all those guys, Machang, are like next level successful when you talk about, and they're all mainstream artists, Machang.
Right.
So to be an underground band, to be asked to represent heavy metal and rock and roll in a panel like that. And bro, there were 15,000 people who came to watch.
Yes.
That thing. Over 15,000 people. For 3 hours, 15,000 people stayed to watch that, Machang. So like, I thought it was a great moment, man. Not me blowing my trumpet. Machang, I thought it was an amazing thing. How it's a testament to show how far rock and heavy metal music has come in Sri Lanka, Machang, for them to consider one of us to represent a form of music on that panel, brother.
Yes.
We are still not played on radio. We are not much played on TV much over here. I mean, the newspapers, the print media is kind to many of us. I mean, radio, if you have a DJ who's a bit more ballsy and likes rock or metal, he'll slip in an original song here, Machang, of either Stigmata or Sacrament or Constellation or stuff like that. But there's so much of amazing original music here, Channa. I'm sure that you know, and even rock and metal stuff. So I think from the way it used to be, that arc and development and growth of where it is today, Machang, it's unbelievable, unfathomable. Even where there was concert apukale, I'm sure you remember. I remember you very clearly, Machang. You remember the Candy Show at Old Trinity Sports Club.
Yes, yes.
Those rock company shows. And even at 80s club and stuff like that. I mean, back then, Machang, it was still a Navarallan for people.
Yes.
You had the people hardcore into it, and those who are hardcore into it, that in a few years they are going to chop off their hair, chop off their beards, take off their piercings and chains. But you know, it's amazing how it has stood the test of time, Machang, and we are 20 years old. I mean, Tenny
Yeah, as a fan growing up in Sri Lanka, I think the reason because when as soon as I got the opportunity to go out of the country, I didn't wanted to go back because I was missing something in Sri Lanka, right? It's those days. Unless we go to that, few of the shows you guys put out, there's nothing else for us. There's nothing else for us. There was a big hole. There was something missing. So when I came out of the country, and I found that we can you can look you can go to a lot of shows. There's stuff that there's like CD shops and record shops. You can get magazines and stuff, and there's a bigger community. So I think I'm really glad to see that Sri Lanka is actually coming up, with that level. So it's actually one of the reasons that I came here for like 1 month assignment. It's been 13 years now, so I never left. So.
Achang, ඇත්තට Channa, I have to tell you that right now the community is so large. There are probably over 40-50 metal bands Machang island wide. There are bands from Gampaha now, not just Kandy and Norelia, but Ella, and so many different genres Machang. It's not just a Colombo and Kandy centric thing. You remember a time when it was.
Yes.
Now Machang Sidua, Nikambo, hell, there are bands in Polonnaru also, I think. And the thing is, it's amazing, Macham, because two things I want to talk about very quickly without boring you guys. One thing is, I think the level of community camaraderie now, Machang, and spirit of organizing concerts and shows. You have guys like Surya Brothers, Machang. You have Mosh Cream Rock, those people. You have the Hella guys. You have the Stigmata guys organizing shows. Then you have other people. And we are all aspiring, Machang, to organize the best shows possible, bro. Better sounds, better lights, better venues, give more value, Machang, to the clientele and the customers. Huh? And I think there are more rock and metal shows, honestly, Machang, until this thing happened, this outbreak, right? Than we ever had in those days, Machang. That was once a month we wait for a rock Saturday, right?
Right.
And clubs wala api gahano. We were lucky. The bands that got into the club scene, api, Earthling, Crep Cycle, handful of us, dagina Machang, we had to hone our chops, Machang, every Friday, Saturday, Sunday for 2-3 years until we got our break, right? So like there are, I want to say thank you, Machan, to a lot of the event coordinators. And back then you'll have event coordinators who'll throw a show. Api damo rap act එකයි, dance act එකයි, පොඩ්ඩක් baila act එකයි, අපි DJs එකක් දාලා ඊට පස්සේ දාමු අර rock band එකක් පොඩ්ඩක්. Then we have a holistic sound. We are catering to, that's the Sri Lankan mentality, no bro.
Right.
අරුවක් වගේ හැම එකෙක්ම දානවා. හරි. But now you have rock and metal centric, Macha, where the focal point is organizing properly themed rock and metal shows. So that is a major thing, and it's a wonderful thing, Macha, that is kind of happening. There was a second thing I wanted to talk about, and I forgot about it. I'll mention it when I remember it.
Yeah, let's go to Thisara. So Thisara, what are your favorite artists and who's your influences?
Okay, so I started as a guitarist. So the band which made me pick up the guitar was Metallica. I remember like watching this video clip of them. It was one of the shows in Korea, and it inspired me. It inspired me so much to pick up the guitar. I can remember like after doing all, I wanted to buy a guitar, and yeah, so that's how I started. And then I got into the rest of the bands like Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, and okay, all the main bands. And yeah, so after a while, I started with pick up playing the bass. So the bands which influenced me as a bassist, I can mention Black Sabbath, Mudvayne, uh, Iron Maiden.
Mm.
Yeah, and those are the main bands
Right.
which influenced me to be a bassist.
Nice. So Hafi, did you always play drums, or did you try out other instruments, or what are your influences, Hafi? I think Hafi's stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hafi.
Can you
Yeah.
hear?
Hello.
I don't think he
Can you
heard
hear me?
me. The question
Hello.
was for
Hello.
you, Hafzel, Maximus.
Yeah, man. I sorry. Just it was not very clear.
I was asking, did you play drums, or did you tried out other instruments before settling on drums?
Not really. My first instrument was the drums,
Oh.
and that is the only instrument I play today. So yeah.
So who are your favorite drummers?
Well, so if you take the first drummer that really got me into metal was Chris Adler from Lamb of God.
Right.
So yeah, it was back in 2008 where I was listening to the album Sacrament, and the song "Walk with Me in Hell" kind of influenced me. Like, there was this bass, the double bass parts which were like really fast, and I really wanted to know more about how it's been played. Initially, I thought it was the guitars, which is the double bass sound, but actually, surprisingly, it was the drums, the bass. So I wanted to learn more, and that's how I got into the drums. And he's a really big influence for me and to date.
Nice. Yeah, but you know that Chris actually left Lamb of God, right?
Oh yeah, when I heard that news, it's really sad because I won't be able to see him live with Lamb of God. Well,
But Art Crows is a pretty good drummer, though.
oh yeah,
Yes.
Art Cruz, he's really good, very tight, fast. He gets it
But
on.
but not Chris's uniqueness. No, Chris
Oh
had
yeah,
that. The moment you heard Chris,
yeah,
you knew it was Adler playing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You can differentiate both, but then he has his own styles. Chris's styles has influenced me mostly.
Yeah. So Suresh, when you guys release, I really want to talk about this one, the video that you guys release, Alisa. So because even my friends here in the Philippines message me, guys, bro, who is this band? That song is so amazing. So can you tell me about that song, Alisa, and about the idea to do that video?
Yeah. Actually, Machan, I think almost 20 years ago, 15 years ago, I adopted Machan a three-legged dog called Cornflakes, Hari.
Right.
And because Tenny and I, we lived together, and we had a doggy called Poochie first that we saved from the street, and then we had a dog called Cornflakes, and she got knocked up, Macang, and she littered. Hari, aage litter ke okkamala maruna. There was all the pups passed away. There was one pup left, and that pup was born blind with no life in the rear legs.
Right.
And the vet at the time said, no hope, just give the fellow about a week that it won't survive. That pup Macang fought and fought and fought. Like it was the size of a bean, Macang. Like batu attack again, it was growling. Hari? And that pup Macang somehow ended up crawling. And then from crawling, it ended up hopping like a rabbit. It strengthened its legs, and it fought and it regained half of its eyesight, Macang, and that dog ended up growing up and becoming a beautiful, fiercely loyal dog that Tenny and I both loved. Her name was Alisa Nakamichi.
Okay.
So she passed away tragically, Machan, couple of years ago. Sadly, with a neutering operation that went wrong. The vet screwed up, Machan.
Right.
And it's a small operation. It should not have happened. But she passed away, and it hit me in a big way. It hit Tenny in a big way because she was such a big part of our lives. And uh, we had just come through a time, Machan, where it was a big lineup change, the biggest in our career, Machan, where at the time Andrew left, and the drummer and bassist at the time, Taraka and Lakma left, and there was a lot of personal issues going on in both our lives, Tenny and my life. And the new music we were composing, Channa, we decided that we would hold a microscope or a lens, Masang, to writing about more personal stuff. In Stigmata, we have always sung about things that have meaning and things that matter. Sometimes, Machan, things that are personal to us, sometimes things that are social, Machan, socio-political or socio-cultural things. We've sung about everything, Machan, from war and politics to psychological paralysis, to people being in comas, uh, to loss and spiritual degradation, and you name it. But we wanted to focus, Machan, and write about personal things, and actually it wasn't my idea. Tenny composed the music, most of the basic framework and the music, and said this is a song I wrote for Michi. We didn't call her Alyssa, that was her first name. We called her Michi Mata. And it really moved me and it touched me, and it was, I think it was the hardest thing I ever had to do, Mata, musically, to. And I've been around for a while, Mata. I've been involved in theater, and like with Stigmata, when doing 4 albums in Stigmata, Masang, was like living 4 lifetimes, Masang. If you know what it's like to go through those cycles of composing that music and recording it and playing it live and different lineups and stuff like that, right?
Right.
But Alyssa to put the lyrics and to put the vocal melodies, and then when Tenny and I presented the song, Masang, to these guys, they made the song complete. They put in their input. They brought in Masang, their expertise to it. And we composed a song about loss, Masang, because we didn't look at Channa. Some of us don't look at animals as just animals or pets. We look at them as part and parcel of our lives. So it's like losing a best friend or a brother or a sister or a child. And we always write our music in multiple points of view and perspectives. So we wanted to write a song, a really touching song about loss, and how it's a song about losing someone or something that you love, and how you want to try and preserve the legacies and the memories. And how would you do that? Not a traditional run of the mill love song, Machang of Boo Hoo Hoo, My Heart is Broken. But we wanted to really capture the essence of what that pain and what that loss feels like, and how you can't ever feel Machan, that emotional loss and that gap with anything in your life. And we composed it, yes, for Alisa Nakamichi, but then we felt that we will, because we've all had pets, and I have, and I've had so many dogs and cats, Machan, that I've lost. We felt that we would dedicate this as a tribute to all lost pets, Machan. That's when we came up with the idea that let's do a music video, but let's do something really cool where we don't feature anyone in the band in it, because then the sincerity and the authenticity of it is lost. Instead, we will ask people around the world, not just fans, not just metal fans and Stigmata fans, but anyone around the world who has lost Masang a pet, be it a bird, a hamster, a mouse, a snake, a cat or a dog or a rooster or anything, to send in Masang their pictures or their videos, that we will immortalize the legacies and the memories of these lost pets. And one thing led to another, and that's where it came to be. So it was Tenny's idea, Machang, who he planted the seed of wanting to write a song in her name. I gave whatever input I could. I think it was really Hafzel, Thisara and Tenny who really put the music together. I put the vocal melodies and the lyrics really. And then the lot of us came up with the idea, Machang, to do this music video and to ask people to send clips. And we didn't know how the reactions would be, but it was unbelievable, Machang. I think there are over 200, 300 pets in that video. And it's so, like, anyone who truly has ever had a pet, bro, I have only heard from them that they can't watch that video, that it brings them to tears and it breaks them down. It doesn't matter who they are, where they're from. And it's the same for me. It's our music video. I have not been able to watch it more than 3 times, Macha. I can't. I end up a mess. I end up like Rose from the Titanic, Macha. It's not a joke. So it's a very personal song, but I think it's very powerful because I think it's a personal song, not just for us, but it resonates, Machang, with people around the world. And it's a beautiful thing because I don't think too many bands and artists have ever thought of writing about something like this, Machang. You know, there are rumors like, Fluff from Black Sabbath's Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. That's my favorite Sabbath record. I think that was 1975 or 76. There are theories that that song is based, that instrumental Tony Iommi wrote for a DJ whose nickname was Fluff, but then there are rumors also that Sabbath never admitted that it was about a pet that they lost. And I know, Machan, that people like Ronnie James Dio was a person who never shouted about it, but he's a person, Machan, who adopted strays. He's a person, Machan. There are pictures I'm sure you've seen where he visits the pound and he's inside the kennel, Machan, with dogs and cats. And like him, there are so many people in the metal community. I mean, you would have seen that shoot, Machang, where Testament Slayer and the Anthrax guys did, where they're to adopt puppies. Shakshal Diner loved, one of his favorite t-shirts in the world to wear was this plain t-shirt with cats on it, Machang. And in interviews, they kept, I've seen these interviews where they're like, aren't you afraid that it'll ruin your image? And he says, why? We are not sadistic and we have nothing against animals. Focus on the music. Focus on the music, not rumors. And you know, that's something Shaldina always used to say. Let it be about the music and not the rumors. And what he meant by that is all these associations, yes, there are images that we maintain, Machan, to be controversial. Some do it to show that they're darker. Maybe they have an anti-establishment or a satanic image, or they have a different controversial outlook, Machan, to their imagery and the music. That is the music we do, Machan. But it doesn't mean that we are not human at the end of the day and that we are necessarily cruel and we are not in touch with, I mean, look at Gojira, Machan. Gojira is one of the flag bearers in the world, Machan, about the carbon footprint, no? And about shouting and screaming about environmental change, Machan, and how climate change, how it's an actual thing. Alyssa of Arch Enemy, Machang, she's not only a foremost spokesperson and a vegan for that community. None of us are vegans in the band, by the way. But Alyssa is also someone who, again, Machang, talks a lot about how farming and how savage butchery and how all of that, the slaughter, Machang, of like animals and how the dairy farms and how that impacts the carbon footprint, how those things work. So what I'm trying to say is, Machang, there are a lot of people, just because we are yakada yakas, it does not mean, Machang, that we don't have an element of sensitivity and emotion. It's not, you don't have to be cheesy, Machang, in order to talk about something that matters. Everything you sing about in a metal band doesn't have to be darkness and death and necrophilia, Machang, and having sex with your ex-girlfriend's corpse. By the way, big Typo Negative fans, and we love that album, Bloody Kisses.
So Suresh,
man.
my friend who's watching the Facebook feed, Carlito Bonaventura from Manila, he's saying, I love you, Alyssa video. I love dogs and music and it made me cry. Thanks for making that happen. And he also has a message for you guys. Hope you guys can play in Manila sometime when things get better.
Oh man, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's a dream of ours also to play in the Philippines. One day we've always wanted to, and when this whole COVID thing is over, we are pretty sure now that Channa is going to be our official agent and get our asses over there. Isn't that true, Channa?
Yeah, we did doing shows. We started doing some shows from last year. We had a couple of shows from Singapore. They came here, but now that we were trying to do another event this year, but you know the situation now. So let's see, 2021 probably we can do another show.
Nice.
Suresh, Suresh, Tenny, I want to ask you about this album, this one, Hollow Dreams, and
Oh my,
about
you have those.
your memories of recording this stuff and putting out those albums. What do you remember about this? Can you talk a little bit about them?
Yeah, basically we were in a school uniform, carrying guitar amps and guitars and going to Uncle Shobi's studio in Kohuala.
Sohan and the
We
Experiments.
used to call him Uncle. Yeah, Sohan and the Experiments, they had a studio and we go there and we used to call Shobi Uncle Shobi when we were in college. We still can call him Uncle Shobi. But
No, we started off calling him Mr. Shobi, and as the relationship got better, it became Uncle Shobi, and then it became Shobi, and then it became Bro, and now it's Macha.
I mean, we just collected canteen cash, all the guys in the band, right? We collected our canteen cash and put it together, and when we have enough cash to go and record to the studio, we head to the studio in our uniforms, carrying our amps and guitars and stuff like that. And we go and, like, I can remember we were trying to record and the sound was really bad. And we're like, why is it sounding so bad? Why isn't it sounding like Creed or like, the guitar sounds so bad? Like, I can't get that sound. And,
Oh,
it's so
and
bad.
also how we were trying to record, 2-3 songs in one day, everything.
And in one day. Yeah. And we didn't even have a guitar amp. Like, we had one guitar amp, but we tried recording straight, and then that sounded like something from, like, I don't know, like the 70s, like a video game or something. Like the guitars are like so thin. We just plugged it to the. We had a bass amp which we used. Like Andrew had an amp. I have it here actually. It's called a Ross amp. It's a bass amp, and we recorded all our guitars on that bass amp. And to this day, everything on those two albums are recorded on that Ross amp, or Ross bass amp, which is my system recorded. And I had a Boss DS1. There was those orange color things, orange color pedals, butter pedals. So like very hardy ones. I just had one of those to record all my guitars and stuff like that. And back in the day, only Andrew had an electric guitar. So I didn't have electric guitar. I used to practice on box guitar, and he used to have an electric. So I think Hollow Dreams we recorded around 3 times, all over again. Like in 3 years, I don't know whether it's 3 years, but in like every 6 months we are going into the studio and we are listening to it, and we are like, oh my god, that sounds so bad. Because to be honest, we didn't like until we went to the studio. We couldn't even play our instruments to a metronome. Our drummer couldn't play to a metronome. This was like way ages ago. There was nobody to tell us, okay, if you're a musician, you need to start practicing with a metronome. If you're going to the studio, it's very important to use a metronome so that you can record your tracks properly. Like, we had no idea. And like, to be honest, I don't know how we recorded these albums. I think it was such a crazy moment because we were living in Mount. We had to go to Kovala. So sometimes, like, we are like carrying our stuff, walking towards Dehiwala. We don't have cash for a tuk-tuk or stuff like that. In the night, we call one of the tuk-tuk guys, pay him later. And sometimes Andrew's dad picks us up. Like, we are like
Why
heavy
the
metal
first
band
day
gets
we
picked
went,
up by Andrew's
the
dad.
first day we went, Shobi dropped us back home, Machan.
Oh yeah, in the night we finished the recording. Yeah. Sometimes Uncle Shobi drops us.
And I'll never forget because and it's cool because he used to convert it, what we recorded that then, we used to listen to it in his car while going back. And he used to always tell us, you boys y'all are crazy buggers, man. Where does a producer drop the band back home? and we are small buggers, right? So he's dropping each of us in our houses.
We are like 16, 17, in school uniform,
One
we
of
don't know anything about recording, no?
Yeah, one of my favorite songs out of that, I like the Hello Dream songs, all the songs, but one song that is always, I even play now is Andura.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a crazy one, bro, because like all the Hollow Dreams tracks, Suresh, he had box guitars back in the day. You had about 3 box guitars, no? So he's the one who wrote all the Hollow Dream stuff, like all the melodies, like everything was there. So Andrew came, he just jammed on it, wrote all the solo stuff. Then according to the solos, I had to put some chords. And most of the songs, I would say somewhere down the line on in like A minor or something, because that's the only chords I knew how to play properly. A minor, F, C, G, A minor, F, C, G, somewhere closer to that. Right, on a box guitar, I used to practice. That's the only chords I knew. Apart from that, one of the independent square guys, he showed me, okay, these are power chords. So then we got to actually learn about, okay, so you had to get that metal sound, you need to put some distortion and play a power chord. So then only you get that sound like this, and then you palm mute it, right? So even those are really no, bro. So even those are like, why isn't it sounding like, like a Creed track or like a Metallica or like
yeah, remember we were
like,
kids, man. We had
kids, bro.
None of us came from musical backgrounds, Macha. None of us came from backgrounds where, like, normally, Machan, in the music biz here in Sri Lanka, even you have a generation or 2 of musicians in the family, Machan.
Right.
Like Tenny, Andrew, and I, Machan. Like, okay, my grandma was the only, my dad's mom was the only one, Machan, to my knowledge, had any musical talent in my family. She was the first organist in a Methodist church in Sri Lanka, Machan, in Nigam. Other than that, Tenny also, I don't know. Background, Andrew also.
No, definitely. I think my mom played some keyboards when she was, like when I was really small, but then I don't think I can play keyboards. Like to this date, man, I can't play anything apart from a guitar and maybe a bass, like little bit of drums, maybe. I can't play keyboards. I get scared when I see those white and black lines going there. Like, whoa, oh my God, all of them look same. So, yeah. So going back to the memory part, that was crazy because there was a play which was happening, bro, back in the day. Delon's play.
Thicker Than Blood.
Thicker Than Blood. The play was called Thicker Than Blood, and that I can remember Thicker Than Blood riff. That song was specifically we were focusing on writing for that play. Like
that and Dying Winter Sleeps.
Yeah, that Dying Winter Sleeps. So both those tracks were basically written for that play, and I guess we're like one of the first metal or rock bands to actually get a chance to compose for a play. I mean, yeah.
For a play, and mind you, he won the Gratian Awards for that play, for the script, and he also was one of the few Sri Lankans invited by the London Theatre to perform the production, Macha. And we did the soundtrack. So other than Thicker Than Blood and Dying Winter Sleeps, we also did the instrumental music throughout the play, Macha. So the play starts with Thicker Than Blood, and the play ends with Dying Winter Sleeps. That's how we did it. Right. So we composed those songs for the play, and they turned out so well that we decided we will include those songs on the album, Machan.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how it happened. So even Anduram, talking about Anduram, that was like, I can remember going back, we were in Suresh's room, like I was living with Suresh.
No,
Basically
not
after,
my place. Andrew's balcony, Templars Road.
yeah, Templars Road, and then I can remember jamming in the room also, because it's either Andrew's place or Suresh's place. We used to like come together, and like it's crazy. Like it's not just one jam. You just jam several times and figure out, okay, what's gonna work, what's not gonna work. And best thing is, like, every time we jam, sometimes it sounds different. Most probably because we didn't know how to keep like remember parts. We're playing for like half an hour, then you're like, some of this stuff sounded nice, you know. But okay, let's try again. Then another half an hour we're like jamming, and then we can't remember what happened. So that's how like sometimes it goes, because we were not like disciplined musicians. Like, okay, let's remember this 1 minute, then record it somewhere on a cassette or something like that. So like that jam happened like so often, and then finally we had to decide, okay, we're gonna call it something, and it sounds kind of cool. We're gonna do it our way, and that would be really cool, because that would be like the first idea of something Sri Lankan, which happened with a Sri Lankan kind of influence and a tune and a groove, to be honest. And to this day, I mean, that song is on 3 chords, that's A minor, F, G. I mean, those are the 3 chords I knew to play back in, like, knew to play back in the day. And even the solo and everything is playing perfectly fine in those 3 chords. That was magical, you know. So
Actually, yeah. Sorry, Tenny.
Yeah. So I think that jam, to this day, loads of people, like young guitarists, to like some bands, to like even guys who play keyboards, sometimes even like, you know, even different instruments, they do their own rendition of, you know, that Andhra inspired kind of a part. So it's kind of cool, like instrumental wise, something happened there, you know. Like
Channa, I think it's the most covered our version of Andhra. Our version of Andhra neve. Andhra is our our version of the Gajaba rather.
Right.
And Andhra Machang is probably, I would say that and Voices and Lucid are probably 3 of the most covered songs, Machang, in this country across any genre, where people use it for talent shows, they use it for jingles, all kinds of shit. We never get credit. And Andhra Machang, people have got married to that shit, bro. They've walked in for Andhra Machang. Also,
hopefully didn't get divorced also.
maybe. I think that's extinction. But what I want to say is, Andhra was also used by Kumar Sangakkara for his final one-day international cricket match, when he walked into the ground. Thank God, not when he got out and walked out. When he walked into the ground, they played Andhra. So this has had a massive cross-cultural impact, Machang, and I don't know, man. It annoys the living hell out of Tenny and me sometimes, because there is more to Stigmata, so much more to Stigmata than Andhra. But we know people love it. We know people enjoy it. I guess it's like Black Sabbath and Paranoid, right? Or like, I guess it's like Led
Paranoid.
Zeppelin.
We love Paranoid.
It's like Led Zeppelin and Stairway to Heaven, where you remember at one point Led Zeppelin boycotted Stairway to Heaven. You remember, like, how the West was won at one point, like at shows, like even BBC, they were like, "We're not playing Stairway to Heaven. We're not playing Stairway to Heaven." Right? So we are happy at the song's success, but I think our trepidation over it is, Machan, that maybe there is there's a whole bunch of people who have not opened their hearts and minds outside Andhra. Like, Machan, the amount of people we meet were like, Machan, Andhra maru, Machan, Andhra Machan, ape jam mega Machan, Andhra Machan, this, Andhra that, Andhra this. and then some buggers will be like, Machang, me andur wage tava nambe ekak kare naha ne. We're like, oh Jesus Christ, listen to jazz theory, listen to something else, right?
Yeah.
So we are happy that the song has done so well. And like Tenny said, I think it wasn't the first time, Machang, that we experimented with Sinhalese, baila rhythms and percussion. We did that much before when the band started. In
Right.
fact, one of the first articles we got, our first big show was at the Rock Cafe, Machang. I remember. We had 200 odd people, scared the living hell out of us because we thought only our friends would turn up for that show.
Right.
And we started that show with Last Resort, Papa Roach, Machang, right? And we did Voodoo by Godsmack, and we played a couple of originals and all of that.
Yeah.
And I remember we did a instrumental, Machang, with a baila part and a papare part. And the journalist is actually an old Thomian, Shanaka Machan, Shanaka Amrasingh, who's also the man who first gave Stigmata any exposure on radio. He took our songs Fear and Redemption, way before Hollow Dreams and Morbid Indiscretion, and gave it to TNL Radio Machan, to Tracy and Kishani, and they played it. And the article he wrote, he said, and I'll never forget it, he said, these guys have a long way to go. The singer has to work on his singing. These guys have to figure out what they're doing, how to tune their instruments.
Right.
It's good if they can find a drummer who can drum. And but one cool thing is, it'll be interesting to see where this so-called baila rock, baila metal thing can take them.
Right.
And that sentence, Machang, it kind of stuck with us and it stayed with us. And
Yes.
whenever we compose stuff, we always thought, okay, we don't have to go overkill and do it in every song. Like, you know how Sepultura are renowned, and they had a big influence on us, Machang, for having their Brazilian beats, Machang, and percussion, right?
Yes.
But they did it within limits, and they did other stuff. So even we felt, right, what we're doing, let's be the first Sri Lankan band, and let's be one of the first bands in the Asian region to be proud of our own sound. I'm not going to sing in Sinhalese because I can't do that. Or Tamil because I can't do that. And they're both beautiful languages, but I am a guy who believes, Machan, that you have to sing stuff by learning the dialect properly. I don't come from this school of thought. Even yesterday, some people were saying, you know, I have an accent when I sing in Sinhalese. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want it to sound unauthentic. It has to sound proper, like it's coming properly. I love opera. I love singing theater stuff, Macha. I love people like Andrea Bocelli and Placido Domingo and Pavarotti and people like that. And I love it. Italian is one of my favorite languages. It's a very rich language. And of course, I like mafia movies. But I am not comfortable, Machang, to sing in Italian with Stigmata because it's not a natural thing, Machang. But musically, yes, we can do that because it is in our blood, Machang. Ape DNA ke tiyana, Machang, we have those baila beats, we have the Vannam rhythms, we have those arrangements, Machang, those Udarata Pada, all those things in us, Machang, right? Because we can go to a big match, any of us, any school, we go to a big match, Machang, or a cricket match, and we hear the paparade gets us going after a few drinks, no, Machang.
Yes.
We think that is there in our bodies, you know. So it was, I think Tenny is actually the one who actually said, listen, let's call it Pure Sri Lankan Metal. And I'll never forget that, where Andrew and I were like, why? It sounds like Pure Sri Lankan theme.
Yeah. So these
Pure Tennis, and Tenny's like that.
Yeah. So Thisara and Hafi, so you guys you guys had to learn all these old songs, right, for the shows. So how is that? Because
Good question.
yeah, Thisara.
Yeah, that's a bit challenging. Especially Psalms of Conscious Martyrdom and Aesthetic Paradox. Those two albums were pretty good. I mean, challenging, but really fun to play. Yeah, I think my favorite song is Idle Mind from Aesthetic Paradox.
Yes.
Yeah, so the full albums in Holodreams. Yeah, so we had Lucid. Lucid is my favorite, and in yeah, yeah, that's it. It was a bit challenging.
Yeah. How about you, Thisara?
So I think most of the songs that we thought at when we start learning the songs, uh, so they sounded like pretty easy to learn, but they weren't. Like they were like very small parts with great detail, and uh, it was it took a little time to get all the parts like perfectly. So I don't think that none of the songs are simple, like even the early ones.
Well, Tenny was a big part of teaching us the instruments and how it was, yeah, in terms of how it should sound. So big thanks to Tenny for you know teaching us the parts how it should be. But
That's
I
okay.
mean, yeah, I mean, listening to Stigmata, it was my first live band, and I was really inspired by seeing them, just like you. So uh, joining them was a big part of my drumming career, basically. So and then to learn the songs, yeah, cool stuff.
You mentioned the Idle Mind, the song Idle Mind. I saw the
But yeah,
video. That is a great video, Suresh, right?
Yeah, amazing video, Machan. Done by Randy Chris from Meraki United. And that video was done, Machan, because we released the song. We entered an online competition, Machan, hosted by a bunch of people called Channel Fix that are American based.
Right.
And they had a thing called the Asia Video Music Awards, Machan, where they had like thousands of people entering for it from around Asia, every genre. It's not a rock and metal based thing. And Ammatodu, we ended up winning that Macha. What do you know? We finally won something. And we won it. We got some good prize money. We got Machan, that would you believe it, Channa? So many years in the industry, and we had to win the Asian Video Music Awards to end up on Sirasa News, on Channel 1 News, brother. We were on. So there would have been people around the world in their homes, Machan, watching news that evening, and suddenly,
who are these guys?
How the Mayako, right? And but that's a great video, Machan. The four of us, we came up with the concept for that based on the lyrics and the music and everything, and told Randy, and then he took it from there. It's amazing, Channa. Like, it's such a next level video, brother, in terms of the animation, how it is. But it's such a sad thing how it has not got, I mean, sure, we won the awards. It's not got the recognition and publicity due, Macang, in this country. It's a sad thing. And yeah, I'm gonna go out and say it. You'll have idiots making music videos with two girls making out near a waterfall, or some bloody foolish woman cutting a sausage in a kitchen, and that gets 1 million views, Macang, in 24 hours. Harid.
Yeah.
Here you have one of the most artistic, forget Stigmata, forget metal, just the value of that video, Macha. Like, I think it's such a proud thing for our country, Machan, to have a talented bugger and to have talented people like Randy Machan who worked and collaborated with the metal anthem, Machan, to create a video like that. I just wish that a lot more people got to see that, bro. I'm sad. I mean, sure, it has about, I don't know, 8 or 9,000 views on YouTube, but I think more people deserve to see that. It's a great innovative thing, Macha. That video,
Yeah.
one of our best.
So guys, so doing 5 albums, and then so what's next for Stigmata, Suresh and Tenny? Anyone can answer.
Tama 5th album में करना बang.
Karana bata.
Alisa is
We are
from the
still
fifth
in
album.
So when is
Yeah.
any idea when it will be
Boys,
out?
you all take this one.
Suresh, I can see your Becky. Oh, no, kidding.
I didn't hear that. You broke off.
Okay. Can hear. Okay. So what next is actually, even the other guys have been working really hard on the tracks and all. We like completed several tracks for the album. There's like only one track which is pending, which we have to like complete music wise. But everything is already like composed now. We are just playing around with some of the arrangements and stuff like that. Already the second track for the album now. Yesterday night we got the mix for it, and all of us are like blown away. We are like, holy crap, moly! Because Romesh has done an amazing job with it, and it sounds like, for us it sounds amazing, like killer, like better than we thought. Like, I don't know, like over the expectations of, like, I don't know, like hearing, like we compose the track, right? All the guys play, compose track, and end of it we are hoping that we can make it sound better. But now we are hearing the end product, like how it is, and we are like, oh, if only I practiced every day like million times now, because everything else is going to sound just crazy production wise. Like the performance also has to be like million times better, like that. But everything is sounding super. Even the performance is like super. I'm just saying, like, if I had more time to practice, I would have practiced more and, like, recorded. But everything is just crazy. Like,
Did you hear all that?
I can't believe it.
All of
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Can everybody hear it? Like, okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah. So we're like over, like, I don't know, I'm like over the moon after hearing the mix for the second track, especially. And I'll let Thisara tell what he thinks about, and then Hafi what he thinks about, because for once everyone is like, yeah, man, sounds like great. So I'm gonna let them talk about what they think about the mix, about the second track. So
This is okay. Go.
Yeah, this is
Okay. Okay, so I shouldn't say the name, no?
no, you can. I mean, yeah, you should say the name.
Should I?
Yeah,
Shouldn't?
you can.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
I think
Yeah, Pambang.
some people know.
Okay. So the second track is
What?
like this.
Everyone's getting stuck now for me. I can't see, hear anything.
Okay. So the second track
Hello?
we are going to release.
Is it me you're looking for?
Can hear you, Suresh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can see it in your eyes.
I think Suresh is kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Okay, Thisara, go, bro.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the second track that we are going to release is Sacred Spaces, and it's a fun track, and it has like so many elements that I don't think that Stigmata has have experimented earlier.
Not just
Yeah.
Stigmata, man. I don't think most bands will have so many elements in an album. Wait, I just came into this conversation. Are we talking about Sacred?
Yeah, we talked about Sacred.
Thank God. I thought I just came in. I felt like I crashed the wrong party all of a sudden.
Yeah. So
Man.
yeah.
Thisara, that's all.
So like Channa,
Yeah.
like Machang, yeah, I want to really mention this, Machang. So we are working on our fifth album. Okay, we would like everyone who's not familiar with us, please check our official YouTube. Please check our official Instagram. We recently hit 1K followers. We're very excited about that. Facebook collectively, Machang, I think we have about 50,000 followers between our group and our fan page. So we are on all these platforms and forums. Please please check us out. If you're hearing a sound like little bats shouting, that's because I have a litter of kittens in my room.
Right.
And the mummy is just giving milk. Anyway, just ignore that. Anyway, it's been pretty good so far. No, my dogs and cats have been behaving like champs here. So we're working on our 5th album. It's a very personal album, very unique album, Machang. There are 6 or 7 songs. I'm hoping there will be 7 songs actually because of that number 7. There are 6 songs done. I'm trying to get these monkeys to work on one more song. I think it will happen. And we're really blessed, Machan, like I mentioned before when I got cut off, to be able to work with an international renowned producer, Machan. He's Grammy nominated. He's also been nominated for the Heavy Music Awards and a lot of other stuff. Romesh Dodangoda in the UK. He's worked with Motorhead, Machan, Bring Me the Horizon. The guys who are not into metal, there isn't a band called Motorhead, Machan, okay? So let me re-say that. Motorhead, Bring Me the Horizon, Funeral for a Friend, Earth Tone 9, Architects, a lot of bands. And we're really blessed, Machan. Also, a very special thing, Tenny and Thisara opened a home studio. It's actually Thisara's. Tenny collabed and gave him the idea as well. What I mentioned earlier, Evil Cat Lab, which is where we record our guitars and bass pro for this. All drums and vocals we're recording at a new, beautifully built studio called Pearl Bay Music. And so we are grateful to be able to track the vocals and drums for that Machang, and then based on the requirement we send it overseas to Romesh to mix and master Machang. He's been doing a phenomenal job. So Alisa was done by him. This new one, Sacred Spaces, is also done by him. And we have plans, Machang, to release some new merch. We have some special things because as a band, we always do limited merch so that it ends up becoming like a collector's item. And we've always been next level, bro, and revolutionary in our merchandise. Like, I think we're the only metal band in the world to have a pack of cards, playing cards that we did for Tap Machan. Shot glasses. We did branded shot glasses. We've done everything. That arm cut that Thisara is wearing right now, looking like a sexy Keanu Reeves from Sri Lanka, was designed by Tenny, done by us. So like that, we have a lot of stuff planned. We've partnered with some very special people. We partnered, Machang, with a clothing brand called Empire Clothing, Machang, which they are entrepreneurs. They're a clothing brand based here in Sri Lanka, and we've tied up with them where they're designing and doing our merch. Because this is our 20-year anniversary this year. So for the 20-year plan, we have tied up with a bunch of special people. We've tied up with the gig organizers here, Surya Brothers, Machang, where they're sponsoring our album. That is how we have been able, Machang, to collaborate with Romesh and work with Romesh. We have to thank him as well, and everyone from people like Yasmin and Decibel, Machang, to all the people, bountiful people here. We have to give special nod to Sanjeev Niles, classical baritone over here, and Mikhail Machang, also known as Dakan, who is a fantastic solo artist in the UK, and they've given us honest feedback for our music and our stuff. And another guy called Deuce, who is over here, who is a close friend of ours, who's had our back like throughout. So I know this is not the time, Machang, to be thanking everyone, but I just wanted to do that because we'll forget once you say,
yes.
Guys, you have anything else to say before we go? And then we'll be like,
Yes, guys, I want to get your reaction. I have a couple of albums here. I want to get your reaction. So this one.
Well,
nice.
I designed that one on the left, and
Right.
I think
You designed the one on the left. Yeah.
left. Yeah, man, this crazy. I can't believe you have this, man.
Yeah, man. These are special albums you have. I think there were probably only
Timeless.
Yeah, man. There are probably not more than 3,000-4,000 copies printed of both, Macha.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. So the first Rock Company compilation has Extinction, and that's like the heaviest song on that. And then for the second Rock Company compilation, while everyone here decided to go heavy, we decided to go reverse and we put the acoustic version of Lucid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a nice. And then, what's your reaction to this one?
Whoa. Yeah.
That's one of our favorite albums, actually.
Yeah, man.
That's one song we have covered here, and we even covered overseas. When we played in Malaysia,
Right.
we played a festival called Rockstorm. It was a 3-day festival, Macang, over 30-40 bands, with bands from Thailand, Singapore, all over the place, Macang. And an Australian band, also hardcore band called Carpet. And we had a badass cover version of Painkiller and also Death's
Scavenger of Human.
Scavenger of Human Soul.
Yeah. So actually, I was able to get this signed by Halford because I was able to.
Machan, don't bring your albums here if you ever come to Sri Lanka.
Leave it back here, come, Machan.
Yeah, and then this one, I think you guys used to play these songs, right?
I hope someone took a screenshot of all of us from your phones, guys, so we can post this up.
I will send you the clips, Suresh.
Monkeys.
Yeah.
What is going on?
And then the last one. I know this is a big influence to you guys.
Oh, Beauty. Yeah, even Suresh has it too, I think.
Yeah.
Because big influence.
Yeah, Jeff Loomis is now playing for Arch Enemy. So I met him last time in Bangkok when he played in Bangkok. Yeah.
Oh.
Actually, I think I got to I heard the names of Nevermore and Iced Earth and all these other bands actually from you guys when you guys started in your shows. You always talk about Nevermore, Iced Earth, Arch Enemy, right?
Yeah.
So
nice, bro.
Yeah, I think we did the thank yous already. So any message to the fans and also anybody that discovering you from the Philippines, Singapore, any message to them, guys?
Yeah, man. like you guys, I think in Singapore and Philippines, you guys have amazing talent. And you guys have amazing sense of musicianship, and you guys are very open-minded to music that is around the world, and y'all can listen to diverse forms of music and appreciate different genres of music without chastising particular genres. And thank you for joining the chat, and do check us out and make sure you check out our new video, Alyssa. You guys might like it, hopefully.
Yes, we will post it the video on the page later after this chat. So anybody else you want to shout out to, guys? Go ahead, Tenny.
I want to shout at each other. Hi, bye.
What?
Because we're beating our pages. So apart from that.
Yeah,
apart from that, just want to thank everybody, man, who is tuning in and who's going to check out the video after. So it doesn't matter which country or which part of the world you're from. I mean, if you're a metalhead, we always support other metalheads, other metal bands, metal music in general. Like always, metalheads, I think these days are pretty open-minded to listening to a vast genre collection of metal. I mean, back in the day, we were like, okay, thrash, yes, thrash, only thrash. Like death metal guys are like, oh, death metal, garbage. But nowadays, like we get to listen. There are like so many genres, like easily over 300 genres of metal itself. Like even more than that, I'm sure, in the world itself. So there are people who listen to metal from like personally, I listen to metal from like Japanese bands to Israel bands to Brazilian bands to Tunisian bands, German bands. I mean, like we get to hear music from like all around the world. So even India. No, no.
You
So what
missed
I
a
want
few
to say is
hundred.
like I missed like shitload of countries. Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is no matter where we are coming from, there is something to learn from each other. There's something to appreciate about each other's cultures, music styles, and even the countries, to language even. Like sometimes language doesn't become a barrier. So same way, even cultural or like ethnic styles of music, when it collaborates to metal, it becomes so unique and beautiful sometimes. So give a listen to our band because we represent Sri Lanka and like we have elements of Sri Lankan like traditional music in it. So like rhythms of Sri Lankan like touch to it. So give it a go. Like listen to us, and if you like us, please hit a like like and like comment and give your feedback to us. Like always write to us and like tell what you guys think about our style of metal, pure Sri Lankan metal. So what you guys think about it, just let us know, and that would be great. And if there's um, same like any bands you guys would like us to check out from your country, please come and just let us know. Just hit us up.
We'd
That would
love
be
to
cool.
play
We
with
are
you
always
guys.
open.
We'd love to
Yeah.
play with you guys. We'd love to have you guys play over here. So let's start building bridges now instead of burning down bridges. Because I want to say during this COVID time and this crisis, listen, it doesn't matter whether you are Metallica or Cannibal Corpse. It doesn't matter whether you're mainstream or underground or what genre of music you are right now. We are all equal because this pandemic does not discriminate no against race or status or whether you're rich or poor or whatever class you're from, right?
Right.
So, like Tenny said, art is a beautiful thing. Be open-minded. Finally, it's about expression, and all of us express art in unique ways and different ways. And you don't have to love everything you hear. There's stuff out there that you won't like. That's fine. But at least give something a chance before you decide you don't like it. I think that is very important. And I think we have to, all of us in the metal community, we need to not just talk about being united. I think that there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, and that's a fast right now because everyone around the world is like, boo hoo hoo. Let's think about harmony and humanity, and let's come together and hold hands and our pinkies and all that bullshit. I think realistically speaking, the music we make and we share amongst each other, especially now in a digitalized world where we have instant access to music. It's not like those days, Channa, no, where we have to stand in line and wait for a CD, or you have to order a CD. You don't know whether you'll ever get it.
Yeah.
You stand in line and wait to buy a concert ticket. We are living in a beautiful age where everything is instantly accessible right now. So let's guys all together use these new platforms and devices, and let's figure out ways to reach out to more people who would appreciate extreme metal and heavy metal and hard rock and what we do. Never mind, I think it's time to put this bullshit aside of thrash versus death metal and progressive versus psychedelic and all those things, because that's one thing about Stigmata that I am loud and proud about. We don't stick to a style. Yes, we go as pure Sri Lankan metal so that we are identifiable as a brand. But if you listen to our music, we have so many styles, as Channa would tell you, so many styles from world music to fusion and Latin, and even Tenny was talking about it, to reggae parts, to classical, to blues, to Middle Eastern sounding parts and baila parts, and that's the beauty of music, right? I mean, they say music is universal. Then for it to truly be universal, it has to be a lexicon and a language that we will share with people and not be elitist about it. So let's share more music. Let's be more cognizant and mindful how we can in this time connect with people and reach out to people. I think that's a very important thing. That's a small message I wanted to give out to you, Bhagat.
Yes. So Thisara, Hafi, anybody you want to shout out to? Yeah, go ahead.
And
No.
yeah.
Well,
Okay,
thanks
so-
to everyone who's watching and who is gonna share the video and watch the video after this live stream. And also
you can shout out your girlfriends and anybody, yeah?
Thanks
All
for
the
saying
friends.
that, Channa, because these three are going to get into a lot of trouble if you didn't say that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
go
boys,
ahead.
that
What's happening?
y'all are, this is where you'll give a shout out and flying kisses.
I think Thisara can shout out to his girlfriend. I think she was
Channa, මේ
watching.
බලන්න ලැජ්ජ වෙලානේ තුන් දෙනාම.
Ayyo. So I wanna thank my mom, my great grandmom, grandma, and,
Your great grandma,
your
you
mom.
didn't even know your great grandma. What are you
I
talking
know.
about? දැන් අර රටවල් කිව්වා වගේ පරම්පරාවම කතා කරන්න.
Go ahead, Thisara, anybody you want to shout out to?
I want to
Now's
thank
the time.
everyone,
Now's the time, brother.
everyone who supports us and everyone who watched this interview. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, guys, Tenny, Suresh, Thisara, Hafi, I like to thank you guys for joining this podcast today. I'm and making I'm really, when I saw the your last performance video, I'm so amazed that you guys have grown so much and the industry has grown so much in Sri Lanka. And I want to shout out to anybody watching from Sri Lanka.
I didn't know any of that.
Yeah. Anybody watching the feed from Sri Lanka, you can subscribe to the channel because we support a lot of artists in the region, so you can listen to their one-on-one interviews here. And so Suresh, Tenny, Thisara, Afi, Stigmata, so I wish you guys all the best. Yeah, Godspeed. So thank you guys.
Thank you for having us, Majan. Thank
Yeah,
you,
bro.
actually.
Thank
And
you.
Appreciate it,
shout
Majan.
out to you.
This is shout out to you,
bro.
Yeah, man.
And
Thank
you know,
you, bro.
you know what, Channa? We'll have a special gift for you. That new song we told you about that no one is supposed to know about.
Yes.
We'll make sure that you are one of the first people in the world who gets it before anyone else. How do you like that?
Yes, we can. Yeah, send it to me.
Once it's done, we're
Right.
sending it to you, bro.
Okay. Thanks, man. Thanks.
Thank you for everything, brother.
So thank you
You take
everyone
care.
for
Thank you, bro.
watching. This is Stigmata. So wait for the official video to go out. See you guys soon.
Okay, bro. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.